Lou Epstein, the oldest, shortest, and baldest of the three Epstein brothers, barely looked up from the cash register when Alfred entered the store. "I want to talk to you," he said. He signaled to Jake, the middle brother, to take over the cash register. He led Alfred back to the storeroom. Ben, the youngest brother, was licking a black crayon and marking prices on soap flake boxes when they walked in. Lou jerked his bald head and Ben left the room. "Some boys tried to break into the store Friday night. You hear about it?" "No." "That friend of yours, James Mosley? The police caught him. Put him in jail over the weekend." There was a long silence, and Alfred studied the green vegetable stains on Lou's apron. "What are they going to do with him?" "Oh, they'll let him go on probation. First offense, and nothing was stolen." "You didn't even hear about it?" "Oh, I heard something." "You heard something." Lou rubbed his pale scalp. "You heard maybe who the other boys were?" Alfred shook his head and lowered his eyes to Lou's shoes. They were worn and cracked, with holes for Lou's bunions. "You're a good boy, Alfred. We all think you're a good boy. I told the police not to bother you. But sometimes it's hard to... Well, we trust you, but for your own sake there's no point tempting fate. You understand?" Alfred shook his head again, and Lou shrugged his thin shoulders. We'll see. Okay. After you get done sweeping up, help Ben with the new crates." He went back to the cash register. They said very little through the morning. Jake kept shooting glances at Alfred out of the corner of his eye. Even Ben was quiet. Ben, who always asked Alfred how he'd spent his weekend, and then winked knowingly when Alfred said he had seen some movies, watched television, and hung around. There was tension in the store, as thick and heavy as the air before a rainstorm. Aunt Pearl sensed it too, when she came in on her way from work. On her way to work. She didn't say anything about Alfred's leaving without breakfast or forgetting his lunch. She just put the paper bag on the counter and walked out frowning. He ate in the back of the store alone, chewing sandwiches that tasted like cardboard in his dry mouth. The Epsteins always let him take soda or milk or a piece of fruit, but today he felt too uncomfortable to pick out the rest of his lunch. The afternoon was hot. Flies buzzed in through the door, landing on the open watermelons and the sweet corn, climbing up the sweating pickle barrel. Two heavy-set white men, perspiring through their summer suits, came in and whispered with Jake and Lou. They looked like detectives to Alfred. One of them wrote something in a black leather notebook, nodded, and snapped it shut. "We'll stay in touch, Lou. Bet you're glad now you took our advice on that new alarm." There was plenty of work to do, and he could pretend to concentrate hard on peeling the rotten leaves off the cabbages and sponging the spilt milk from the refrigerator floor. He was arranging the fruit in the front window, half watching Lonnie, the 60-year-old delivery boy, park his bicycle, when he first saw James. The round face, swollen and grim, was framed between hand-printed window signs advertising the week's special sales. "Hey!" Alfred called, starting toward the door. He stopped at the cold, hard look in James's eyes. James turned and swaggered away, like Major. At 2:45, Lou Epstein banged open the lower cash drawer and counted the big bills into a brown envelope. Alfred went to the back to wash his hands, while Lou filled out the deposit slip. When he came out, Jake was stuffing the envelope into a pocket. "Sure," thought Alfred, "now I understand about no point tempting fate. They don't even trust me to go to the bank anymore." There was little to do in the late afternoon. Alfred swept and reswept the dark wooden floor just to keep moving, his head down, avoiding the Epsteins' sad, distrustful looks. He kept remembering how good he'd felt in the park, jogging over the gravel, the wind in his face, his muscles heating up. "Hold it right there," said the cop. He kept seeing James's face on the wooden floor, cold eyes and a swollen face. He swept his way into the back room, jamming the straw broom into nooks and crannies he'd already swept clean. The tiny wires of the new burglar alarm snaked along the molding of the back door, and for an instant he thought of sweeping them loose. One good hard swipe should do it. Come back at night, get in the back, wait until next Friday when there would be a lot of money in the register. Come back with James, then he'd know I didn't purposely let him walk into a trap. He swept his way out among the shelves. Can't do it. Maybe never be able to do anything but sweep up this crummy store. "Nothing's promised you. That's what Mr. Donatelli said. Why'd I have to go up there, listen to all that foolishness, get excited about it like a little kid? Glad nobody but those cops saw me running this morning. That was foolishness, too." "Hold it right there," said the cop. "Slave," said Major. "Good boy," said Lou. Alfred felt in his pocket. Enough for a nice dark movie, he thought. Sit and watch it forever. "Hey, Alfred." He looked up, startled. Henry? What time you coming by? Where? He stared at the ever-grinning face peering in through the door. The gym? Jim? Yeah, Mr. Donatelli said you was up Saturday night. He asked me about you. Oh, what'd you tell him? Gotta run, see you later. Henry! But he was gone.